Shalom, everyone. As much as we can say it, Chag Purim Sameach. One thing's for certain, if it's not so happy because of what's going on in the world, and we've got soldiers at 3 or 4 fronts and Air Force pilots flying thousands of kilometers, it's still Purim. And as much as it's difficult, and while we've got family members and ourselves running from miklat back to bedrooms and backwards and forwards and waking up kids and taking them there and having the threat of these missiles coming over our heads, it's just uncanny to think, how close everything is and how similar to the same story that happened years ago. The same anti-Semites, the same terrorist activities, the same hatred, dates that Jews were going to be killed. But we have to take lessons and messages away from everything. We read the Megillah, we hear Shabbat Zachor, but how is it internalized? Remembering, remembering is not just reading history. It's not just reading about Shmuel and Agag and Shaul. It's not even just reading about, Amalek in the desert on the 28th of Iyar, as it worked out, which is Yom Yerushalayim. No. It has to somehow be turned into some type of action. Baruch Hashem, we have a state today. It's not like it was over the generations where the various Amalekites had total control. We are now a generation where Am Yisrael has the ability, with Hashem's help, whether it be openly or hiddenly, that we can actually act. So there is the obvious taking control of our own destiny when Hashem opens up the door, and to act in the ways and see that how the tables are turned. It's just phenomenal. The fact that the Ayatollah was killed on Shabbat Zachor, it's just, and that's real action. That's part of the remembrance is taking action. But there's other things that has to be taken into account when you've got time and you may be listening to this and thinking about what really is Purim about, beyond obviously the thinking of the other, beyond the Mishlach Manot, the Matanot, the Evunim, the Arvut, thinking only of the other person, uniting as one as much as possible. And we know how difficult that can be sometimes, whether it be within family, within communities, within the nation. But this is the time that a lot of the masks go away, and hopefully we see a lot more unity and arvut. But I heard, I don't remember where it was, maybe it was over Shabbat, or maybe I read it somewhere, that one of the problems of the Egel HaZahav wasn't that the whole nation suddenly bowed down to idols and, was dancing around the golden calf. I mean, we're talking Sachakol, a total of maybe, 3,000 people that were ultimately killed. I mean, how many millions came out of Egypt? I mean, we know 600,000 men between 20 and 60, assuming they had wives, assuming that there were kids and maybe older people, there may have been 4, 5, 6 million, who knows, at least 4 million people, that left Egypt at the time. Something phenomenal, huge numbers. 3,000 people around the Egel HaZahav. So what was the big problem? Why is this such a tragedy? Beyond the concept, which is obviously absurd, all the time of, we've seen the Torah and Har Sinai. The fact is that most of the nation didn't do anything. One of the biggest problems we have as people is sitting on the fence. Not acting here, there, closing an eye, pretending. We're told in the Torah never to even let an enemy's, someone that you don't really like, if he's got a heavy baggage on the horse or the mule, to help. Lo lit'alem, no, to turn aside. Moshe Rabbeinu was the ideal person. He saw the Egyptian hitting the Jew and he acted. He saw the Jew fighting the Jew and he acted. He saw the Goy fighting the Goy and he also acted in Midian. A person can't sit back and just let injustice happen. Taking a position, acting when time is necessary. Mordechai in Persia, there's many discussions about, did he do the right thing? Should he have not? Maybe he should have bowed down. Why is he rocking the boat? Why is he upsetting everyone? The anti-Semites will just get the wind up and they'll make it even worse for us. Just bow down. Just be a good little boy. Do it. There are times where you don't bow down. There are times that you don't bend. There are times that you don't compromise. There are times that a person has to act and not sit on the fence. Mordechai stood up. I mean, mind you, it was very easy because he's from the tribe of Binyamin, and Binyamin, as we know, uben ktefav shachen. Between the shoulders is the Shekhinah, the Bet HaMikdash, but even physically, the individual, someone from Binyamin, has a certain koiches about him, certain strength about him, that he has the Shekhinah, the divine presence for him. He's not going to bow down. He's not going to sit on the fence. He sees that something needs to be done and he acts. Of course, Hashem is not necessarily there openly like we see in other places. This is really a period where Hashem is in the background. But how every little thing happened to happen, this happened to happen, this happened to happen, this happened to be a pretty girl that ended up being taken by Achashverosh. He happened to overhear. He happened to have he couldn't sleep at nighttime and brought the book. happen in Hebrew, as some of you know from some of the tours, which I recommend, by the way, to everyone to see what we're doing and that way get involved and never sit on the fence. Mikre is a chance happening. But of course, as we know, Mikre, a chance happening, of the 4 letters also spells Rak me Hashem, only from God. It also equivalent of also Rakam Hashem, and God weaves a pattern. So within the Hebrew word of Mikre, a chance happening, it's only from God, and God weaves a pattern. Well, did we or did we not see the pattern in the Megillah? It's unbelievable. I still don't understand, by the way, if someone's listening to this at some point, let me know how Zeresh fits into this whole thing. Because at one point, she's the one that says, no, for Mordechai, you got to build a gallows and hang him. And when Mordechai comes back all upset, she says, oi, Mordechai, the Jew, you're never going to be able to defeat him. What she didn't know that was Mordechai before. She knew it was Mordechai before. So what she's sounding all strange now, this is Mordechai, there's no way you can defeat him. She didn't know that before. That's a question about that. The other question I've got, which is more of a joke, but of course it's Purim, you can allow to have something like that even during wartime, is what happened to that decree that Achashverosh had that men are meant to the masters and the rulers of their own household. That's sort of gone in this day and age. We don't talk about things like that. In any case, we don't sit on the fence. We act. Mordechai acted. And the second message, of course, is to understand that whatever we've got, whatever we have received, whatever power and position we are in, that is a blessing from God, and God is giving to us for safekeeping to use in good and holy causes. If we don't understand that whatever we've got, once again, our stature, our money, if it's not used for Yerushalayim or for holy causes or for Am Yisrael, then we don't understand. What does Mordechai say to Esther? Who do you think put you here? If not for this is the time that you have to stand up. God puts you in the position of being the queen. So if God has given you a foundation, if God has given you a bracha, if God has given you something, then use it. Use it for Yerushalayim. I mean, this is the place of Hashem, Hashem's home, the place where the Beit HaMikdash was built. In fact, the whole story of Purim, as I've said before, and some of you may have read it in some of the emails, is all about Yerushalayim. Yes, Yerushalayim was stopped being built. Was it partially built, fully built? It was stopped after Koresh gave the okay. Hardly any Jews came back because everyone's comfortable in their lives. People forget Yerushalayim. Hashem says, you forget Yerushalayim. Like he said to Melech David when there were 70,000 people that died at the end of Shmuel Bet. You forget Yerushalayim. Everyone's building their own house and their country club and their beautiful houses. And what about my house, Hashem says? What about Yerushalayim? How could there be so much grovel and dirt and rubbish and anti-Semites and who knows what in Yerushalayim? Where's my house, he says to David Melech. David Melech, of course, get all of Am Yisrael, because it's not just for 1 or 2 rich people. No, this is for all of Am Yisrael to be involved. They all buy back Yerushalayim. As we know, all 12 tribes gave gold to David Melech, and Yerushalayim was bought and was settled and was strengthened. The same thing here after the whole story of Purim. What do you think happened? And maybe not everyone went back. That was still a problem, but at least they gave, because the new king Darius, whether it be the son of Esther or someone else, doesn't make a difference. The point is that in the book of Ezra, we know that Am Yisrael all then started to give to the diligent builders of Yerushalayim. Everything centers around Yerushalayim. They want Yerushalayim. Everything is about Yerushalayim, marching to Al-Quds. They've said it in Iran. They've said it in Hezbollah. They've said it in Gaza. Everyone. They're not going to get Yerushalayim because we're standing in their way. And I don't want anyone sitting on the fence. I don't want if you have been blessed, then do something for Yerushalayim. Not everyone can buy, understand that. Today we've got 20, 30 apartments we're going to be getting back from the courts in the next course of a few months. It's costing us $100,000 to $150,000 to renovate a place. You can add a family, dedicate a building, help build a Beit Knesset. We found the Beit Knesset in Kfar Temanim. We're doing a Beit Knesset and also a bomb shelter in Kidmat Zion. You don't want to help and protect fellow Jews. Arvut. Arvut means that you have to feel that it's your people, that it's your family that's running from bomb shelter to the dining room, that's under threat of missiles coming in. That you have to feel that it's your kids walking around Yerushalayim. You have to feel that it's your Beit Knesset that needs to be rebuilt. That's what it's all about, not sitting on the fence. That's what it's called, taking a position, helping build Yerushalayim, coming forward and acting. Remembering Yerushalayim is not a matter of just remembering Yerushalayim. It's nice that we break a cup. It's nice that we have an Amah al Amah, but that's not enough. Hashem remembers 4 times in the Torah, and I've said this before also, but I'll say it again here because it's Purim and I've got a lot of things running through my mind. God remembers Noach and he saves Noach. He does something. God remembers Avram and he saves Lot. God remembers Rachel and he gives her a child. God remembers Am Yisrael and he brings out Bnei Yisrael out of Mitzrayim. We also remember Shabbat, remember Pesach, but we act. We remember Yerushalayim. So what are we doing? This whole story of Purim now is about Yerushalayim. Chodesh Adar is the giving to the Beit HaMikdash, giving to Yerushalayim, upkeeping Yerushalayim, doing whatever and ever is necessary. So the message now from Purim is, after you've heard this, if everyone has managed to listen to this 9 or 10 minutes that you've heard, you go to the site, ateretkohanim.org/donate, and you do something for Yerushalayim, or you speak to me and you'd like to take on a project, a dedication, a Beit Knesset, a Miklat, a kids project, a security project, or renovating a place, dedicating a place, whatever it may be. Anyway, that's 10 minutes. That's definitely enough on Purim. I am stuck here in Chutz La'aretz, in Galut. I'm not with my family, although I do feel that I'm running backwards and forwards to the Mamad just like they are. I haven't celebrated Purim the way it should be, but I think all of Am Yisrael this year, mind you, this year I'm in Avelis because my mother, Zichronah Livra Alea Shalom, passed away, so anyway, it will be a little bit low-key. But I managed to get my sticks, and I wiped out, when I heard Haman's name, all the bad people that I wrote on the wood stick, something else for Rashan. But I hope to get back to Eretz Yisrael soon. That's our home. Your houses are here in Chutz La'aretz, not our homes. Our homes in Eretz Yisrael. Let's feel Arvut. Let's feel Yerushalayim. Have a Chag Purim Sameach, and may our soldiers be protected, and may Hashem finish off the Amalek of our times.